Manifest your life and fly, 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 fly. Renee, Lynn, Yancy show. She's a spark, she's the light, she's the voice that feels just right. Truth and style, heart and grace, you'll see joy in every face. Radiate, illuminate, and shine, shine. The Renee, Lynn, Yancy show.
What up, doe Detroit? What up, doe world? It's the Renee, Lynn, Yancy show, and I am your host, Renee, Lynn, Yancy, and executive producer. We are live at WHPR TV Detroit. Wow, so we are here, our first episode, our first show, and we've got an amazing guest. But I first want to tell you the reason why we are here. We're here for you. We're here to inspire you. That spark that you feel, that moment that you feel, that impression, that's inspiration. And we're here to inspire you to learn something new. And with that, we need education, because if we stop learning, we die. There's a phrase that says, "My people perish for lack of knowledge." So let's get educated. Let's learn something new, especially in this world that we live in, this world of tech, this world of AI, which we're going to get into in just a minute. But we're also going to motivate you, move you to action. What is it that you're going to learn, that you're going to create something that's going to bring you out and be a blessing to others? And also, we're definitely going to have some fun. We're live. So you're going to get the bloops, you're going to get the uh-ohs, you're going to get the blunders, but it's okay. We're going to have a good time. We're going to wheel this out one day. We're going to have our blooper show. But as I said, our first guest, we're talking tech. We're talking AI, because we've got the godfather of tech, Professor Tim Bates, who is here to share his journey to greatness, starting on the west side of Detroit as a 13-year-old kid, moving through Wayne State at 19, and then going off into the military. This man has been awarded awards coming from President Joe Biden, and we're going to hear all about it. Right now, I want you to go get your coffee. Go get your water, get your tea. We're going to take a commercial break in a few minutes, and we're going to come back and we're going to get into it. And we're going to hear all about this amazing man, the godfather of tech, Professor Tim Bates.
Manifest your life and fly, 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 fly. Renee, Lynn, Yancy show. She's a spark, she's the light, she's the voice that feels just right.
Watkins Broadcasting is going worldwide. Now you can watch Detroit's own WHPR on your TV from anywhere in the world. No matter where you are, you can stay in the know with WHPR TV and Roku. You can get your easy-to-install Roku box from wherever you shop for your entertainment gear. Once your Roku box is connected to your TV and internet, go to the channel store on the home menu of the Roku box. Enter WHPR TV in the search engine and add it to your channels. That's it. That's all you need to get the best in entertainment, news, and talk, no matter where you are. Roku brings all of your favorites to your TV. Netflix, Hulu Plus, Crackle, HBO Go, and now WHPR TV, Detroit Live.
Justice for Mario Willis. Truth. Facts. Evidence. Mattered. Log into justiceformariowillis.com. Read for yourself.
Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
Truth and style, heart and grace. You'll see joy in every face. Radiate, illuminate, and shine, shine. The Renee, Lynn, Yancy Show.
And we're back. We're back with our guest, the professor of U of M, the godfather of tech, the what I like to call the phenomenon. Our guest, Professor Tim Bates. Thank you so much for joining us on this first episode of the Renee, Lynn, Yancy Show.
Renee, thank you for inviting me to be here.
So as I told you, we're live.
Yep.
So we're just going to keep it 100 and keep it raw.
That's how we
This
do it.
man has an amazing story. And the reason why I asked him to be here, not just because of AI and tech, because it is relevant, it is now, but because he has an amazing story. So let's get into it.
Right.
First question, Professor Bates, take us back to your 13-year-old self. Yes, 13, y'all.
Yeah.
When you started writing code, what inspired you at that age to get into technology?
I'd say my mom.
Your mom, okay.
My mom worked for Michigan Bell. She was a Michigan Bell operator. So you remember, patch operator, patch board. And her manager, boss, basically told her one day if she wanted to move up in management, that computers were going to change everything.
Sure.
And so she took upon herself to go out and buy a Commodore VIC-20. When she brought that VIC-20 into the house.
Commodore VIC-20.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
This is the old days.
Yeah, that's super old. I'm like, IBM? No.
IBM was more on the, the PC side with businesses.
Okay.
And it hadn't even really taken off yet in the home personal computer area. Commodore was one of the first. Apple was side by side with Commodore.
Mm.
But from that standpoint, you had Apple, Commodore, and Atari.
Okay.
And I chose Commodore because
Okay.
my mom brought the Commodore VIC-20. Of course, single mom, we're not couldn't afford every computer. And so that was the beginning of my journey in programming.
In programming. So the computer's in the house.
Yes.
The computer's on the table. Is anyone else using the computer?
Well, if you ask my brothers and sisters, they'd say they tried.
Okay.
But I kind of dogged and hogged the whole thing.
Gotcha.
And because it was just one of those things that I was very fascinated with. It was something that I knew that being able to write code, I could control and build whatever I wanted.
Mm.
My dreams, think about things, you can automate things. And that was just one of the things I like to do.
So you have nailed the first pillar of the show, inspiration, because I'm sure there was that moment that you felt, but you mentioned coding. So next question. I can't wait for y'all to hear this answer. Can you tell us the first app you created, what it did, and how it ended up disrupting global communication?
Oh, that's an interesting story. The first time I wrote many apps as I grew up, and on the Commodore 64, this was past the VIC-20 when I was 13. Basically, I got into phone phreaking, pirating software, games.
Phone phreaking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Phone phreaking is where you basically fool the phone into making long-distance phone calls for free. To give it a really simple example, if you look at Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. Steve Wozniak, one of my mentors, basically invented hardware that would do phone phreaking, and it would allow people to do free phone calls. It's actually one of the how they actually funded Apple Corporation in the old days.
Okay.
At the beginning. I look at the hardware, and because the VIC-20, or not the VIC-20, but the Commodore 64, had a SID chip, one of the most revolutionary sound chips on the market at the time. Basically, it could emulate any sound that you could think of.
Mm.
And so I ended up taking the hardware that Steve built
Mm-hmm.
and basically turned it into software. And that software would emulate the phone and fool the phone into giving you free phone calls.
And this was at 13?
Yes.
At 13 years old. Wow. And so, I know a little bit about this story. So after that, you've now done this. And
Yep.
if I remember correctly, you've also shared this with some of your friends?
I shared it with lots of friends around
Lots
the
of
world
friends.
because back then we had BBSs, bulletin board systems. This is way before CompuServe and AOL And bulletin board systems are like the precursor to the internet. And kids like myself, adults too, we would communicate over these BBSs that would use phone lines in your house.
Okay.
Yes. And I decided after, creating the tools and everything else to upload that application. And unfortunately, to my demise, basically that application got used a lot around the world.
So there came a knock at the door.
More of a bang, but
more of a bang. And so the next question, which is going to lead into this story, the rest of your journey or the next step in the journey, where you were later recruited to help the government.
Yes.
Track digital pirates and hackers.
Yes.
So, well, but I feel like I'm getting ahead because I know this story a little bit. Take me back to 13. A knock or a bang came at the door. What was that? What did that knock? Who was banging at the door?
Well, it was a combination of Detroit Police and Secret Service, U.S. Marshals. That was the beginning before hacking was actually really a thing. So law enforcement didn't know exactly how to handle any of these situations. And technically, I wasn't at the house when it happened. I came home after the fact and my mom gave me a business card and says, "You're in trouble." And to an empty room of all my computer equipment gone.
Yeah.
And from that standpoint, from what I remember, my mom was really upset because my mom was like I said, the nicest person in the neighborhood. Her kids didn't do anything wrong. We were always doing something, inspirational or, just not getting in trouble.
Yes.
And to have that happen, it was kind of
earth-shattering.
Earth-shattering for her.
Yeah.
And embarrassing. But, we got through it, and I ended up contacting my court-appointed lawyer, and that's when he had offered me, he says, well, the government basically doesn't understand how to put your equipment back together. They don't know exactly how you did what you did or how to replicate it.
Sure.
And so that turned into a deal, which is, can you come in and show us how this technology works, how the software works? How does this whole industry with phreaking and the software works? And so I did.
And again, this is at 13.
Yes.
So that conversation started then, but they still had to wait for you to graduate.
Yes.
Yes. And so let's do a little shout out.
Yep.
Mom, single mom living on what side of town?
West Side.
West Side, Detroit. What up, doe? And you've shared with me just how challenging that was for her to make sure that her kids didn't succumb to the neighborhood.
Correct.
Share a little bit about that.
Well, we lived in Detroit, West Side, East Side. They're about the same when it comes to the gangs and everything that was going on back then. And it was being a single mom. My dad passed away when I was 3. And from there, she had to raise 4 kids, me, my 2 sisters, and my younger brother. And her being a full-time mom working for Ma Bell, we were latchkey kids.
Ma Bell, I know about, yes,
Yeah.
latchkey, yes. Got the little, your key with your address on it. You
Yep.
can't share it with anybody else, yeah.
And so, from that standpoint, every day after school, it was go home, do your homework, get your lunch or your meal or whatever else, wait for mom to come home after 6. And so, it was, she tried her best to keep the house filled with things that would keep us interested so that we didn't want to go outside when she wasn't there. And I think that's part of, me opening up into the internet or BBSs where I met people from around the world.
So shouts out to all the moms who know how to create that world inside the house because it's not always nice on the outside. So bravo to you and bravo to your mom, Tim, because she, gifted the world with you. Okay, so now, take us. So you're not 13 anymore. You've graduated high school. Shout out to, what is it?
Mumford.
Mustangs. What up, though? And so you've now graduated high school. What's next?
Oh, high school. I decided I wanted to go into the military.
Okay.
And it was kind of a different situation.
Okay.
Because at the same time, I stayed out of trouble, and they gave my computers back. But about 1918, I've had mostly a lot of friends in the industry, and colleagues would ask me to collaborate. And so obviously I didn't know that I was still being watched. And obviously from that standpoint, I ended up kind of getting in trouble again for being associated with the wrong groups at that time. In a way that basically that's what led me into not just joining the military, but I was already thinking about the military, but going into the military as communications and then getting into cryptology. So,
and that turned into jumping out of helicopters.
It turned into a lot of different things. It wasn't by plan, but once I joined the military, I came back to my unit. That was the turn where computers were becoming big things. And it wasn't even an MOS in the military at the time.
And what's a MOS for us non-techie people?
Now you got
yes.
trying to remember what
you got to give us these
for,
acronyms.
It's a mission. It's your mission or your operating process or your operating job in the military.
All right. Your duty.
And from there, when I got back, my unit basically had computers, lots of computers that were popping up, PCs, IBM PC computers, and they were having problems and issues. And I happened to have the knowledge. And so my unit ended up asking me, to do more work on the computer side than just communications. And that gave me more opportunities in working with the IBM PCs, PFS Write, different Ada programming languages, things like that.
Okay. All right. So, moving on. People call you the godfather of tech. What does that mean to you? And what standard does that set for how you lead?
What does it mean to me? It was a few years ago when I was on a talk show or podcast.
Okay.
And some young kids, shout out to Menace Media here in Detroit.
Shout out.
Basically, surprised me with, hey, the godfather of AI was on the show. And I'm like, godfather of AI?
Yeah.
And I never thought about it from that standpoint at all. But the kids locally would always look at me and look up to me and ask me questions around tech. And they're always asking, well, you know about AI, you know about XR, you know about VR, you know about networks. You worked at all these large corporations. And that's when it ended up turning from godfather of AI to godfather of tech. Because I'm a technologist by heart.
Yes.
It's basically what I believe in, and the way I want to lead, or the way I lead, is tech is here for us, for people. It's not a tool. It's a tool, not a solution that's going to take over mankind. When we deploy technology, computers, software, it should be in the essence of helping out humanity. And so that's how I lead, with teaching people how to use tech in their everyday jobs, how to increase their productivity, not how to replace them.
Amen. I was having a conversation recently. Actually, I was over at Black Tech Saturday. Shout out to Johnny and Alexa Turnage, who are doing the thing in tech and rising the bar for us here in the D. And there was a gentleman there. And he said, look, I'm just here trying to get out and reacclimate myself coming out of the military. And he said, I'm afraid of AI. And so the whole room just wrapped their arms around him, showing him how easy it is and how safe it is, and why it's here and what it's been doing. So, which takes me now to my next question. From the hacker protege to the CTO and security leader, what was the single hardest pivot in your career, and how did you make it? The hardest pivot.
Ooh.
And how did you make it?
The hardest pivot was the last couple of years, I'd say. I retired or left Lenovo as a global CTO there.
A global what?
CTO for Lenovo.
Okay.
From that standpoint, a couple of years ago. And when I left, I kept thinking, what did I want to do with my life? And it was more of, do I want to continue to be an inventor, a technologist, or do I want to go out and try to figure out, how do I make a change in the community? How do I get more of our people into tech? Because as I grew up and as I went to school, as I run into all these different organizations, I'm always the only, dark-skinned person in the room. Even when I was at GM, only one in the room. When I was at Lenovo, only one in the room. And I'm like, how do we change that?
Yes. And
this is where, even with my colleague friend, Kelly Crawford, we looked at the taste of tech.
Yes.
And that inspired me basically to say, if we can give everyone in the community a taste of tech, that could change their trajectory. Today, when I walk through the neighborhoods, and over the last 2 years I've done this, I don't see technology. I see cell phones. I see tablets. That's not technologies. That's technology for consumers. And we need to change the narrative from being consumers to being leaders in tech. And how do you do that? You start showing and inspiring people with the real technology. I'm happy to see some of our brothers showing robots, because that's the next evolutionary step. They're not here to replace us. They're here to help us. They're here to pretty much make things a lot safer. When you think about a robot doesn't get hurt, but a robot needs programming. And that's where getting people more into tech is important with programming. When you talk about programming, most people think they can't program because it takes a high level of mathematics, technology understanding. And today it doesn't. We've changed things in the tech world where we have programming called low code, no code. It's literally like putting together jigsaw puzzles. If you like to put puzzles together, that's what programming is like. Modular design, where you need an algorithm. You're not worried about writing the algorithm. You're worried about plugging an algorithm in to do a particular task. And so with that evolutionary change in programming, that allows or lowers the barrier for entry-level programmers. And I believe that from our community standpoint, as jobs change, go towards these robots, automation starts happening, more of that programming can be taken on by individuals in the community.
And that is the I feel. Because there, you have conversations with folks. They're afraid of technology taking their jobs.
Yes.
And what it really means is, no, it's time for you to learn something new.
Yes. It's time.
The world is
right.
has evolved, is evolved, yes.
Right. When you think about the things that we do in order to keep people safe, I've grown up in Michigan, worked for the automotive industry for almost 20 years. Being a CISO at General Motors and a tech fellow, I go out to the plants. I'd see all the different things and all the safety things that we put in place. The safety programs are great, but we still end up with problems where people get hurt, people die. Last year, Delta had 2 people die on the tarmac getting sucked into an engine.
Ooh.
Now, if there was a robot out on the tarmac versus a person, we wouldn't have those issues. Same thing in a plant. If there was a robot doing the mechanical things that are unsafe for humans, then it would be a lot better for the company. Less issues that are happening. But the thing is, we have to train those individuals to be able to do it. Jobs aren't being replaced; they're just changing.
And we're going to get into that later. I got some questions that are going to go directly to that. Let's see. Let me move on to another card here. Now, 2024.
Oh.
You were honored with the Real McCoy Award by DTE Energy, and received earlier this year in January the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President Joe Biden. What work are you most proud of behind those honors?
The work of giving back. That was the pivot that I wanted to make, which was learning to teach versus doing all the time. And for the last 2 years, I've given hours and hours to to the community, and uplifting and teaching people about tech. And that was, one of the things that, I was surprised at the end. These awards were coming out was that you've stepped away from doing the tech and doing the big companies, working with the big people, and now you're working with individuals. And at zero cost to me, it was more of, I want to see people aspire to get to where I'm at.
Yes. Amen. Amen. Sow it, reap it, I call it. And just knowing that we're not here to stay. And if we don't sow into the next generation, it could be a little ugly.
Right.
All right. So let's get into that sowing. If you are a small business on 7 Mile Livernois at the Avenue of Fashion, or a startup at New Lab, shout out to Midtown. I'm sorry, Corktown.
Corktown.
What's the smartest $1,000 you can spend on AI right now?
I would invest in owning your own AI.
Owning your own AI.
Right. The thing is, when you think about what we have today in the industry, we have OpenAI, we have ChatGPT, we have Grok, we have Amazon, we have Google, all of them offering AI. Mm-hmm. What most people don't understand is these AIs that they're building that are global are learning from us. Now, if you decide to pay $20 or $200 a month to get one of these services, think about how you pay for Netflix today or any other service. You will perpetually be paying for that for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. Now, what does that mean? Yeah, dependent on it. But to me, I call it the new age of slavery, of data. It's like you're training their models and then you're buying your training back.
Oh, double dipping, it sounds like to me.
All right. So in the last year and a half to 2 years, there's a new product or a new solution that came out that released was free called DeepSeek. Okay. A lot of people complained about it was from China. That doesn't matter because all of the models and everything that's around AI comes from everyone around the world.
So this is a subject we have got to go deeper, but we got to go to a quick commercial break. So go get your water, go get your coffee, go get your tea, answer a quick email. Please come back because we're about to go deep into this. Thank you. See you in a minute.
Manifest your life and fly, 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 fly. Renee, Lynn, Yancy show. She's a spark, she's the light, she's the voice that feels just right.
Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
Justice for Mario Willis. Truth. Facts. Evidence. Matter. Log into justiceformariowillis.com. Read for yourself.
Watkins Broadcasting is going worldwide. Now you can watch Detroit's own WHPR on your TV from anywhere in the world. No matter where you are, you can stay in the know with WHPR TV and Roku. You can get your easy-to-install Roku box from wherever you shop for your entertainment gear. Once your Roku box is connected to your TV and internet, go to the channel store on the home menu of the Roku box. Enter WHPR TV in the search engine and add it to your channels. That's it. That's all you need to get the best in entertainment, news, and talk, no matter where you are. Roku brings all of your favorites to your TV. Netflix, Hulu Plus, Crackle, HBO Go, and now WHPR TV, Detroit Live.
Truth and style, heart and grace, you'll see joy in every face. Radiate, illuminate, and shine, shine. The Renee, Lynn, Yancy show.
We are back with the godfather of tech, Professor Tim Bates. We left on our break going into
DeepSeek.
Let's continue on, Professor.
So DeepSeek is a model that was created in China by the, Chinese universities. The individuals, I actually happen to know them because when I was at Lenovo, Lenovo was a Chinese-owned company. I traveled to China and was able to meet some of these individuals. Okay. They are professors just like I am and research individuals that are only into building AI for all. And this is one of the things that's going on in the open source community is that in the open source community, we believe that AI is such a powerful tool and most people who've used it understand that.
Yes.
It should be in the hands of everyone, not
Amen.
just the corporations.
Power to the people.
And so the mission behind DeepSeek and all of the other models that are just like DeepSeek are smaller models that run on more efficient equipment. This is where, if you think about a year ago when DeepSeek first came out, NVIDIA stock, which is the core GPUs that basically runs AI today,
Okay.
stock dropped. It
tanked.
tanked. Right. And they lost several points. And that scared, I believe, the industry itself because, OpenAI and all the American companies are dependent on that technology. But because we decided, our government decided to embargo or whatever you want to call it against China and not allow them to use the latest chips, China and other countries around the world, not just China, did exactly what I've been taught to do in all my years of IT. Do more with less. If I ever went to Mary Barra at GM as a tech fellow and said, Mary, I need $1 million and $2 million to do something, she'd look at me and my budget be like, we're going to give you a quarter of it. And so I was always taught in IT, we have to make the best out of a little bit that we can get. And the open source community did that with open source outside of what OpenAI was doing when they're building theirs, which is they're building it based on, we don't care about the hardware. We don't care about the industry. We don't care about the impact on energy and anything else. We're just building without, any restrictions because money flows pretty well out in California.
Liberty,
yes.
freedom, yes.
And so that taught us one thing is that we didn't need NVIDIA. We don't need those latest chips. The open source community was doing it on 3-year-old, 4-year-old chips.
Wow.
And so that democratized AI, where now it's at the point where anyone can run this locally, in their house, in their office, on minimal compute. And that changed things because, like I said, if you're working with AI in the cloud, you're training their models. And then you're going to buy that training back.
Double dipping.
So why not train your own model for yourself? It also goes back to my belief from my hacker or back in my hacker days. Kids like me are out there and they know how to use these tools. But how do we protect ourselves against an AI that's being used by an adversarial individual?
Yeah.
It's impossible unless we have our own AI. And that's where I believe if everyone has, just like the open source community says, if everyone has their own AI from a personal standpoint,
yes,
they can use that AI in the long term to protect them against the negative AIs or the bad actors that are going to be using AIs against them. We can't depend on a corporation to do that because we've seen multiple times where every one of them have leaked data. Just 2 weeks ago, OpenAI's private conversations you're able to go into Google and search for corporate private information that was supposed to be hidden.
Oh my.
A month ago, Microsoft with Copilot had a 0-day exploit that opened up their doors and all of their data and all their clients' data to the world.
Oh my.
This continues to happen over and over and over again. That's where it's like, well, instead of trusting your personal data, privacy data, your IP data in a corporate cloud environment, you should own your own. And because of the democratization of being able to use lesser powered GPUs or older GPUs, that has enabled that capability.
Well, in this day and age, you're sounding like some real change maker stuff.
Yes.
Some truth talk. And interested to see where that's going to go. I already know we're going to have a part 2 because I got so many questions and I'm looking at the time like, oh, we're going to have you back on. But I want to take a pivot.
Okay.
Take a turn. Bring you to our current day Detroit. And we had a mayoral race going on.
Yes.
And we had a lot of candidates and now we've, got down to 2. And so for the one who's going to be the new mayor, what citywide tech to-do list would you give the city of Detroit's new mayor? Give us a top 3 picks.
Oh, I'll give you the one top pick.
Oh,
because there's not really 3.
Okay.
There's things that are going to happen below that, but I believe that Any mayor in today's society should be looking at the technology that we have at hand today. One of the problems that I've seen, or just can see across the globe in all cities, is that the constituents in those cities are not being heard. And it's hard to hear 1,000 people. It's hard to hear millions of people. When you look at Detroit, with all of the different areas in Detroit, you have what we have individuals that represent those individual areas.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, Detroit may be 800,000 or a million people.
Mm-hmm.
You divide
Well,
that
under,
up into those
but yeah.
districts or under,
Mm-hmm.
you got 1 million per district, if that makes any sense, just on average. How can one individual speak for all of those individuals? It's not possible. We see it in our elections. It's not possible. This is where AI comes in.
Mm-hmm.
What if the mayor take AI, build individual AI systems that listens and helps those individuals that represent those districts? Now you have an aggregate of all the information coming in from your constituents within the city, and you can analyze that. And now you're actually basically able to attack the problems that are at hand, not just the loudest or the loudest squeaky wheel, but the actual issues that are going on.
So there's an app called Improve Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a user of it. If I see a lot, a truck or automobile on a side lot, I can report. I can send that picture of that car. I can add the address, and someone will follow up.
Mm-hmm.
So how is that different than what you're saying?
Well, that system is probably not using AI. It's probably doing it in an older way, which is we get a database and they pick what they want. Usually what happens in politics, we know how it works. The one that does all the investment, all the lobbying and everything else is the one that's going to get things going to get done.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with the constituents within the city? Okay.
Without that representation. Yes.
And AI is going to be agnostic to anyone's agenda. It's going to look at the data and explain, you got 60% of the people over here says this is a problem. You roll that up, you got 60% across all districts. You have a problem that you need to go solve, that people want to be solved, not people that you think want to be solved because of one individual who invested in your campaign more than the other.
Yeah.
In this case, the data doesn't lie. AI doesn't lie because it's not looking at personal things. It's looking at just the data itself.
I'm interested to see how that would roll out. When I think about Detroit and all of its wonderfulness, we still got our issues like all cities do. But one of those issues is illiteracy. And what depending upon your resource, depending upon where you get your information, I've heard percentages from 47% all the way up to 75%.
Oh, I agree.
And so that's where I personally want to see AI come in and change. I don't know how.
Well,
I don't know. Yes.
How it changes is because, again, I'll go back to the same word I use all the time, democratization of knowledge. One of the things that I struggled with in going through school was I learned my way. And when you learn your way, the education system doesn't work for that. The education system usually works for what I use a normal analogy, the 20%. And it leaves the 80% behind because they can't learn the way or fit into that box.
The box of the book, yep.
Now, AI, on the other hand, can teach you the way you want to learn. And that's where you get that democratization.
Power.
It's like when I do my classes, when I teach, I explain things in normal English. If someone says, I'm going to go techie here, a firewall, which is what we use to protect our networks. It's a perimeter network. I look at it and say, no, that's just a door. It's a door with a lock on it, with a peephole. And you let in who you want to let in. An individual understands that that door now is their demarcation and their firewall of their house. And then I cross-check that against what a corporation is. It's the same door. It's a door that you can either let people in or let people out. When it comes to AI, it can explain things the same way. So instead of explaining a very technical procedure in technical terms, you can have an AI explain it in general terms that if you're a barber, if you're a hairstylist, if you clean streets, it doesn't matter what you do. You can have it explain it to you in that vernacular. That gives a little bit more power to knowledge or learning in your way. I believe with learning, and it's one of the things I'm doing at the university, is we need to learn how to teach and meet people where they're at, not bring them to where we're at, which is how we've always taught. And in this case, with AI, we can do that.
I love that. My godmother, Sandy Cotton, who's no longer here, but she always used to tell me, Renee, you got to meet people where they're at first, and then bring them to you. And you're right. So often we feel like we have the answer.
Right.
We've got the right thing, and we're going to shove it down your throat and hope you can digest it. And this, not one of my questions, but I know we've talked about this. This makes me think of those stereotypes that happen with sometimes people of color, young kids that are got too much energy going on.
Mm-hmm.
They may have that ADHD that we both have,
Yeah,
and are
yes.
proud of it, because we call it our superpower.
Absolutely.
Being able to multitask and just take that mind in multiple areas where you didn't fit in the box. So you got pulled out of class to be with the special kids.
Yep.
Because you learned differently.
Yes.
And so, bravo for using your superpower to make such amazing things. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure.
Yeah.
I was diagnosed with ADHD when I think I was in third grade.
Third grade.
And my mom, that was I guess at that time of the industry, it was medicate.
Yes. Bring you down so we can tolerate you.
Yeah.
Yep.
And my mom looked and says, medicate. No, we're not going to medicate.
Amen.
I'm going to bring out a belt.
There is more than one way to skin a
Yes.
cat. Yes.
But she taught me basically to, use my ADHD as a superpower.
Yes. Amen.
It was focus. Just because you can work on 5 or 6 different things at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you accomplish them. Make sure you finish them. And in that mindset, that's how I use mine.
Yeah.
It's like I'm very creative. I think outside of the box. At General Motors, when they'd ask me to look at different things, I'm like, oh, well, why don't we do this? I was looking at virtual reality, digital twin, 10 years prior to anybody even knowing what digital twin was.
Wow.
And that was because I started looking at video games and technology, saying, if I can imagine or if I can render a world that looks so real, why can't I use that to reduce energy, reduce waste? Because at GM, we were doing clay models at the tune of millions for every car.
Yes.
We were pre-building vehicles at the tune of millions. Wow. And it's like, why can't we do that digitally? If I can play a race car game that's so real, why can't I use that race car game basically to impact the iterative design process?
So is that what you did while you were there?
Yes. And that's
no more clay.
No, well, they still use a little bit of clay.
Okay, all right.
Still got to keep that around, but that was part of the process. Was looking at how do we change? How do I impact the iterative design process with virtual we call it images or technology, and that's where I called my friends, buddies of mine that I've known for years at Unreal, and we brought in Unreal, and that's changed the industry across the board to movies. Boeing has trained over 400 engineers because now they do all their building and design virtually instead of, we got to build it, we got to manufacture it, send it out, manufacture the piece, test it. Oh, it doesn't work, throw it in the garbage. In this case, you can do all that testing virtually inside of a computer.
That sounds like quantum leaping to me. Jumping into the future quicker, better, and faster. Yeah. So, looking at our time here, again, we're going to do a part 2. Let's transition, as you said, the reason why you retired, you wanted to give back, you wanted to give to the youth. So beyond your personal success, you've worked to open doors for others. Why is that important for you to mentor and support the next generation of teen techs in the future, the world changers?
It's important to me because I was reading a study, was it 3 years ago, from MIT. And the one thing that popped out to me was that while analyzing the information was that within the community, it said there was a 2 to 2.3% uptick in African Americans going into technology.
Oh.
In the last 5 to 10 years.
Okay. Oh.
And I'm like, why is it such a small gap?
Yes.
Some people look at it as a winner. I looked at it as a loser. I'm like, no, we need 20%, 30%.
Yes, amen.
And we can get there. And why can't we get there? We can't get there because they don't know about the tech. They're not being inspired.
Exactly. They're not being inspired. So let's talk a little bit more about that when we get back from this last break. So again, answer some emails, go get your coffee, get your tea, and come on back. And we're going to finish our interview with the godfather of tech, Professor Tim Bates.
Manifest your life and fly, 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 fly. Renee, Lynn, Yancy show. She's a spark, she's the light, she's the voice that feels just right.
Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only. Watkins Broadcasting is going worldwide. Now you can watch Detroit's own WHPR on your TV from anywhere in the world. No matter where you are, you can stay in the know with WHPR TV and Roku. You can get your easy-to-install Roku box from wherever you shop for your entertainment gear. Once your Roku box is connected to your TV and internet, go to the channel store on the home menu of the Roku box. Enter WHPR TV in the search engine and add it to your channels. That's it. That's all you need to get the best in entertainment, news, and talk, no matter where you are. Roku brings all of your favorites to your TV. Netflix, Hulu Plus, Crackle, HBO Go, and now WHPR TV, Detroit Live.
Justice for Mario Willis. Truth. Facts. Evidence. Mattered. Log into justiceformariowillis.com. Read for yourself.
Truth and style, heart and grace. You'll see joy in every face. Radiate, illuminate, and shine, shine. The Renee, Lynn, Yancy show.
And welcome back to the Renee, Lynn, Yancy show. We've been talking with the godfather of tech, Professor Tim Bates. We're going to start wrapping up our show and getting to the conclusion of this interview. So I want to pivot. I want to pivot back to the youth. What advice would you give a young person in Detroit or anywhere in the world who dreams of creating something world-changing like you did when you were 13?
I'd say, understand the world around you. Understand where there's issues, gaps. Look for those gaps.
Look for the gaps.
And if you look for the gaps, then you can put your energy into something that really will help people versus then just going out and building tech. A lot of organizations today, we see building tech just to be building tech.
Yeah.
And in some cases, we're not ready for it. And so that's why I always tell people, and I've been taught the same thing, which is before you start inventing, start understanding the world around you. And it's kind of what I've done over the last 2 years, which is, as I've stepped out of the corporate world and into this new world, it's understanding what does this world need? What do they need from me? So that I can come up with better ideas that I can bring to that world.
And now you're going to get me over here crying, knowing your purpose. I mean, really, that's what it's about. Yes, we have our journeys and we learn the things that we learn and we go through the things, hopefully not too much trauma and too much drama. But it does, that adversity does make you stronger.
Yes, it does.
But knowing that all of that is for a reason and that we are a gift to be given to others. So you have definitely demonstrated that with us. So now, what was the biggest lesson you learned as a teenager stepping into the world of tech?
That tech can be used for two different things, good and bad. And as a judge told me once, which changed my trajectory,
was at 19?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Is that you're blessed with a talent that most don't understand, and that they would like to see that I should put my talents to good use. And that was a pivoting change in my life because, scrawny 98-pound kid, smart kid, always getting beat up because I was a geek, thrown into lockers or whatever else you want to call it.
Whoa.
But, based on that, it was, I had a big brain.
Yeah.
And the judge telling me basically that, I should really think about using my talents for good or helping other people change my life or change the way I looked at things. And I would tell people the same thing, is that tech is always going to be able to be used for good or bad. It's up to the human being on how they're going to use it. It's no different than how we look at weapons. Yeah. Weapons are created. Weapons don't hurt people. People hurt people. And the same thing with AI, the same thing with technology. If we choose to use it to hurt people, it can be done. If we choose to use it to help people, that's where I've done with my life.
It's called choice,
Yes.
right? Everyone gets to choose. Some people are forced, but hopefully not. Before we get going, I really want to spend some time here on you. So you've gone through this journey, you've learned, you're sewing back, but I also know you have an amazing product, an invention that you have created.
Yes.
You have patent. Take us a few minutes on that journey. What how did that come? What is it? Where is it now?
Yeah. Several years ago, I started architecting a solution. I started looking at AI and looking at how do we build the next version of what most call antivirus.
Antivirus, okay.
In the 80s, we had antivirus that helped us protect, in the 90s, protect our systems from worms and viruses. And as technology evolved, I'm looking at basically more of predatorial things that are happening on the internet when it comes to marketing. Corporations and companies are using the internet from a marketing standpoint to sell more products than anything on the planet today. And that turned into what I call anti-AI, a solution that I started developing on working with individuals to understand how they think and help them protect themselves from these things that are going on the internet. That turned into basically me creating my own AI.
Your own
and
AI.
That AI today is now in a product. It's called Ty.
Ty
okay. Basically is my version of an AI that basically allows an individual to work with AI that helps them increase and improve their productivity. The other thing is it's built in order to learn a person and understand their culture. When you look at all of the AIs that we have out there, when you go talk to ChatGPT or any of them, they're all made by a different race. And it's not on purpose that they get the demographics or the cultural nuances for all the cultures around the world or within the United States wrong. It's not done on purpose. It's done because that's the way they see the world. And so that's where I get back to a personal AI is more important than a corporate AI, because that AI can now be built and designed based on your culture, work with you within your environment. You can't do that with a global thing, but you can do that with a personal AI. And so my product is basically a personal AI that you own, you run. It's private. It's privacy. It works around privacy. The other things is that we have programs or frameworks, GDPR, which is European laws. We have HIPAA. We have FedRAMP. You see a lot of mismarketing in those areas where they say that they are certified in these areas and they're not. They're just on the list. And any organization knows that if you're a law firm, if you're a doctor, they're not using AI today because they're afraid that that information is going to be leaked. In this case, that's where the personal AI or the small AI that they can have in their office locally, that they can run and own, becomes theirs.
So tell us real quick, where can we find that product?
You can find it basically Prynis.
Prynis.
My company, Prynis.co, Prynis.co.
.co.
Yes, and that's our website. That basically, Prynis stands for the center, the nucleus. It's Greek. It's the beginning of basically building your own nucleus that will help you take on the world.
Thank you, Godfather of Tech. Thank you,
you.
my friend, Tim Bates. Tell the audience where they can find you, if they want to reach out to you, ask you questions, because you are somewhat accessible. Where can they find you?
Well, the easiest way to find me is Google the Godfather of Tech. I will pop up at the top. I normally hang out on LinkedIn. I can't do all the social medias, and I refuse to use bots because I like to be more personal. So LinkedIn is where I'm normally at. I do have Facebook and TikTok and all the other type of social media platforms. But when you go there, you're not going to see me. You're going to see things that I've done there. But if you want to talk to me, hit me up on LinkedIn. And I do have a Medium where I do my constant writing, publish papers.
Awesome. So I hope you tuned in. You had a great time. You learned a lot. I hope we inspired someone. I feel I got educated. And hopefully someone got motivated today to do something different. So follow us live at WHTV. We are streaming on all the platforms: LinkedIn, Facebook, X, Threads, TikTok, you name it. The crew has put it together. We're also going to be on YouTube. But what's so exciting is we've been here live on WHPR TV Detroit, Roku TV, and Apple TV. So thank you so much for joining us here on our first Renee, Lynn, Yancy show. Tune in next week at 11 o'clock.
New day, new talk, new perspective, real and raw. Connect the heart, inspire the mind, bringing stories that redefine. Lift your light and let it glow. You're watching what you need to know. Radiate, illuminate, and shine, shine. The Renee, Lynn, Yancy show. Rise and be who you're meant to be. Renee sees the light.